Before this video starts, if you enjoy this video, there are many more like it already on the channel, with many more like it to come in the future, so subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate it. I upload 6 days a week on this channel, so if you're looking for some consistent basketball talk, this is the place for it. Also, drop a like on this video. It only takes 1 second, and it makes a massive difference. Also, real quick, I just wanted to give a heads up to the video that's going to be coming out tomorrow. It's going to be a little bit different. As you guys should know, 8/24 is Kobe Day. So I'm going to be doing something special for that. I've hinted at it, or not even, I've just said what it was on my Twitter. So if you want to know, go follow me there. But I'm not going to give specific details here. That totally wasn't me trying to get people to follow me on Twitter. Today I'm talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves and what they should do with their #1 overall draft pick. Now, I obviously made this video about the Bulls. I did that because I'm a Bulls fan. I'm not going to be having that same level of depth with every team, because I don't care about every team as much as I care about the Bulls. Yeah, that's a double standard, and that's me being a bit of a homer, but whatever. I don't really care. So I'm going to go over a couple of teams, probably to, like, I don't know, the 10th pick, maybe. It depends how I'm feeling on it. Like I said, like I'm going to say here, my knowledge of draft prospects is not as great as you'd like it to be. My thing is, I'm going to commentate on what I believe a team should be looking for, where they're at, and then what prospects are available based on their rough archetype, not the exact details. Like, you're not going to get some nuanced take from me about Anthony Edwards or LaMelo Ball or Killian Hayes or Denny Avdija, however the hell you say the last name. Like, I don't know these prospects very well. However, I do know roughly about them, and I do know very well what NBA teams need. So the Minnesota Timberwolves are in a very unique situation because I think they're pretty set up in the guard department, and they're also set up in the center department. And what it seems like the top 3 picks of this draft is going to be is Anthony Edwards, who's a shooting guard, LaMelo Ball, who's a point guard, and James Wiseman, who's a center. So drafting one of those 3, it's going to be an interesting situation, because the thing is, I would say, yeah, you draft LaMelo Ball regardless of D'Angelo Russell, or you draft Anthony Edwards regardless of Malik Beasley. But they did trade a good amount of assets for both of those guys right before the deadline. So this is certainly a situation where it's like, well, we just gave up a lot of stuff for these guys. Are we just going to immediately contradict this just because we managed to get the #1 pick in the draft? Now, in my eyes, you take Anthony Edwards and you don't think about it whatsoever. Like, fit-wise, I don't think any of these guys are good, but I think Anthony Edwards is better because I think D'Angelo Russell is a point guard. I don't like the idea of him playing the 2, and LaMelo Ball is going to be handling the ball a lot, and I think D'Lo's most effective, or at least should be utilized both as a ball handler and without the ball. And if LaMelo's there, he's probably not going to get the ball really at all. He's just going to be turned into a spot-up shooter, and it's like, what's the point of that? We traded a first-round pick that's happening next year. I'm pretty sure it's unprotected for this guy, so you don't really want to just contradict that and basically use 2 first-round picks to get 1 guy. Although obviously you'd get the assets from trading D'Lo if you moved him. Also, Malik Beasley has not been re-signed. I think maybe, my position here is I would take Anthony Edwards and then sign and trade Malik Beasley, or just sign him and then run Edwards at the 3. Like, I'm pretty sure Edwards is only like 6'5", but he's really well built. Yeah, he's only 6'5", but he's also 225 pounds, which is pretty big. I think he could get away with playing small forward against most small forwards in the league. Of course, that's not ideal, but like, I'm pretty sure Jarrett Culver, who's a small forward, is like 2 inches taller but weighs less. Yeah, so Jarrett Culver is 2 inches taller, however, he weighs 30 less pounds, so I don't think there's anything that wrong with putting Anthony Edwards a small forward. Obviously, I believe his natural position is the 2. However, I think he works as a small forward, at least with this team, because Malik Beasley is not someone who's going to be dribbling the ball a whole lot, so you can still use him as a spot-up shooter. So that's what I would do. However, my friend, but also my draft guy, not Zay, who has a YouTube channel that he doesn't upload on, he's the guy that I go to for like draft-related stuff, because that's like his niche. That's his thing that he focuses on more than anything else, or at least what he talks about more than anything else. And he seems to think that based on the GM or whatever that the whoever's running the Timberwolves right now, they don't really like guys like Edwards, so his prediction is that LaMelo Ball is drafted, and I guess we can talk about that scenario now because that's an interesting one. Basically, the problem with that is that D'Lo becomes more of an off-ball player, and as I said earlier, I think he should be a bit of a mix. He's a very good three-point shooter, but he's also very good in the pick and roll. Now, it's not great that he's not good at attacking the basket or getting to the line, and it's not great that his playmaking is not utilized or not nearly as good as his assists per game average would make you feel like it is, but he is still a good distributor, and it's good for him to have the ball in his hands a good amount. And taking that out of his hands and giving it to LaMelo, LaMelo's not going to be quite the scorer to start, I don't think. I think in terms of putting the ball in the basket, LaMelo's going to have a bit of a rough go of it for the first year or two of his career, and he's really going to figure it out. But to start, he's going to be basically a playmaker. And I do think a playmaker like LaMelo would make this offense particularly deadly. However, in order for this to be an ideal fit, LaMelo has to be real comfortable playing off ball, and not only that, he has to be good at it in order for this team to be all right, which I think they can be. Like, I think the Western Conference next year is going to be a bloodbath, because I've made the point after they made those trades that, like, once everybody's healthy and everything's figured out and they get a good coach and all that stuff, like, the Minnesota Timberwolves have all the firepower in the world to be one of the best offenses in the league. It's all about just putting it all together, and then you add a #1 draft pick on top of that, and if it works, then it would work very well. Like, if LaMelo Ball was a seamless fit in Minnesota, he was hitting spot-up three-pointers, and then when he had the ball, he was just amazing with it, with his ridiculous vision. Like, I don't think people are emphasizing enough how good LaMelo's vision is. A guy like that in this offense could be great if he's okay playing off ball a good amount, and basically him and D'Lo trade ball handling duties. But I don't know that that's going to work out that way. So that's why I'm hesitant on that one. Anthony Edwards is also someone who wants the ball a good amount, that should be said, and he doesn't have the vision, but I just think he's a better player, and he's going to be a much better defensive player, and Minnesota is a team that needs defense. Anthony Edwards is not a good defender from what I understand, but he also has the potential to be, and obviously LaMelo has the potential to be as well, but it seems like more of an effort thing with him. Edwards has effort, it's just his defensive IQ is not amazing. Again, I want to emphasize these are things that I'm hearing from other people in terms of these prospects, and then I can talk about the prospect. I just said prospect again. I could talk about the idea of drafting James Wiseman. First of all, if you're doing that, I would trade back, because at least a #2, get what you can if it seems like there's something viable there, because I would definitely, I mean, there's a good chance the Warriors take James Wiseman, so I guess there's not really much of a point to that, trading back one spot. I don't know that you'd get that much for it, but anyways, James Wiseman, the thing is, the idea of James Wiseman, I feel, is going to be better than James Wiseman himself, based on what I'm hearing about him. And this should be said, I've like watched clips of these guys and stuff, so I have a good idea, but I'm just, reading stuff. James Wiseman is like he's like a Clint Capella type with a bit more skill to him. Like, it seems like there's potential for him to be a jump shooter and a little bit of a ball handler for a 5, but it doesn't seem like that's like solidly something that's going to happen. It's like a maybe with him. And the idea with putting him next to Towns is Towns can play power forward, and then he works fine as a power forward because he's still pretty quick on his feet, and he's a good ball handler, and he's a very good three-point shooter, and he would not have to worry about rim protection and being this like anchor of a defense when he's not a good defensive player. So if you draft Wiseman and he can stretch the floor a little bit, and he allows Towns to not play defense, you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. So you can have the good of Towns and really mitigate the bad of Towns. But I'd almost feel like taking Wiseman is like a situation like you're just like trying to find the piece that fits next to Towns best and not who's the best prospect. And I understand that mindset, but I also think the ceiling of the Timberwolves is a lot higher with a LaMelo or Edwards at what their absolute peak could be, rather than what I think Wiseman's peak is going to be. Like, I think there's an argument to be made that Wiseman, if he works out, is going to be the best option for Minnesota, because there are a lot of people that think Towns should play power forward for the defensive deficiencies, but there's also an argument to be made that you're gonna be an overall worse team with him than Anthony Edwards or LaMelo Ball, even if, yeah, you are mitigating some of the negatives of Towns. It's an interesting balance to try and strike. In terms of the other prospects in this draft, I mean, I'm almost certain it's going to be one of those three. Denny is an interesting idea, but if you're going to take Denny, trade back, and I mean, I'd be perfectly fine with the Timberwolves trading back to 4, and then we get Anthony Edwards or LaMelo Ball. I'm talking for the Bulls here, but I would not do that. I would take one of those three guys, probably one of the 2 guards that are available. I don't know. It's interesting because they made all these trades for these 2 guards, but now the best 2 prospects available are 2 guards, and I mean, I would take one of them. I don't think Malik Beasley being replaced is like the end of the world, and I also don't think there's a reason he needs to be replaced, because I mean, I think at least if you're taking Edwards, I don't think he needs to be replaced, but it seems like they're going to be going LaMelo. It's very, very interesting. Obviously my take here, I would take Anthony Edwards and play him at small forward. It's obviously not ideal, but I don't think that really affects his offensive role, and defensively, I think he'd be fine on most small forwards in the league. Obviously, some bigger guys like LeBron James, it's going to be a bit of an issue, but I don't think that's something you need to worry about right now, because right now, the Timberwolves need to be a team that's worried about just making the playoffs. And I think if they get one of these guys and they're really good in their rookie year, they could be a borderline playoff team. If they were in the East, I would say definitely a playoff team, but it's the Western Conference, and there are like 13 out of 15 teams are contending for a playoff spot. So yeah, that's what I think about what the Timberwolves should do with the #1 pick in the draft. That is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.